So these governments got together and agreed on this. And I believe that even what Admiral Byrd did tell about the Antarctic was interesting. Okay? I'm going to tell you what I believe about this, and I'm going to share with you something about the Bible, the book of Enoch. The Bible talks about the ends of the earth, the edges, the extreme edges, where the firmament comes down. Now remember, if you got a dome, it's going to be high here, come down, and finally touch somewhere, right? See, I believe they found it. I believe they found it in these expeditions. There's testimony that some of Admiral Byrd's planes were hitting invisible shields. Now there are people now that are attributing that to alien technology and saying that the Nazis had a base there and there was aliens there and all that. That's a bunch of crap. Now the Nazis did have bases there, but this invisible shield that they were running into, the planes, I believe they found it in Antarctica. Now, long before Admiral Byrd went to the Antarctica, I found this the other day. There was an expedition, and there was a man that went in 1927, between 1927 and 1930. I think he went 2 or 3 times. There was an expedition, but this man right here, and notice this is in the National Library of Australia. Everybody see that? Okay? George W. Rayner. Okay? Now, he went along in an expedition to the Antarctica several times as a photographer, but he was also a biologist. And he took pictures of the Antarctica. Now, I'm going to read a little bit of his bio here. But this is a summary. The William Scoresby was the ship, was a purpose-designed research vessel built for the Discovery Committee by the East Yorkshire shipyard of Cook, Welton and Gamble, named after the famous British Arctic explorer and scientist William Scoresby. And but anyway, this was the Scoresby completed 7 voyages to the Antarctic waters between 1926 and 1937. And of course, George Rayner was on board several of these expeditions, and he was a photographer. And here's an example. This is in the museum, Victoria Museum in England. These pictures of George Rayner were committed to this or given to this museum by his wife in 1984. These pictures have been verified to be legit, and they are in the National Archives of Australia and also in these museums. But this is one of the pictures he took. This is in the Antarctica. I'm going to show you something. There's 2 pictures in this particular section. And this is him from the water looking back and the sky behind it. Now you see the sky back there, right? Normal, gray, hazy sky. But there's something interesting. What is that? The sky looks weird, doesn't it? It looks textured. It looks almost glass-like and crystal-like. Let's zoom in on it a little bit. This is another picture he took. Same thing. You can't see it as good in this picture. But let's zoom in on it a little bit. The first picture. Does that look like the sky to you? That looks like something hard, something that looks like crystal, it looks like glass. Again, you can believe it or not. But here's an interesting section from the book of Enoch, and I believe the book of Enoch is legit. Listen to what he said. And the Lord took him. And Enoch, again, the book of Enoch is legit. I'm just going to tell you. So is I'm finding out the real book of Jasher, not the forgeries. But here's the book of Enoch, chapter 18. I saw the treasury of all the winds. And this is what he's talking about. The Lord took him to the ends of the earth. I saw the treasuries of all the winds and how he had furnished them, the whole creation and the firm foundations of the earth. And I saw the cornerstone of the earth. And I saw the 4 winds which bear the earth and the firmament. He said, I saw this. And I saw how the winds stretch out the vaults of heaven and have their station between heaven and earth. These are the pillars of the heavens. And I saw the winds of the heaven which turn and bring the circumference of the sun. So here he talks about the sun moving. and the stars to their setting. And I saw the winds on the earth carrying the clouds, and I saw the paths of the angels, and I saw at the end of the earth, the edge, the extremity, I saw at the edge of the earth the firmament of the heaven above. Enoch says, I saw at the edge of the earth where the firmament came down and touched it. I believe that George Rainier took a picture of it. May not even have known what he took a picture of. And it exactly looks like what Ezekiel described as a terrible crystal. Right? Now, right after they made these Operation High Jump and Admiral Byrd and all the big military expedition went down there, I believe they found it, and I believe that this is what they discovered. I believe they discovered the firmament. Listen to me closely. And that this is the truth of creation that would prove the Bible beyond any shadow of a doubt, would prove the Bible is true, show God's power, show God's glory in creation, and they suppressed it and hold it back. This is what I believe they're holding back. The truth is that they know it because immediately after this, as we begin to develop nuclear weapons and missile technology, in 1962, there was a thing called Operation Fishbowl, 1962, high altitude nuclear detonation. Now, why did they call it Operation Fishbowl? They were trying to punch a hole in it. They know it's there. See, remember this. The devil has always said, I will ascend into heaven above the heights of the clouds. I will go into the heaven of heavens and be like the Most High. But he can't. Because God's firmament is strong. And so mankind that follows it in their rebellion, think. And see, listen, this is why they want to break through the firmament, because they wanted to show we can break God's power over us. They knew it existed. And it's interesting that the nuclear missile that they used to try to break the firmament in Operation Fishbowl is called the Thor. The Thor is the pagan god, son of Odin, that desired human sacrifice. But he carried a hammer and declared himself the protector of mankind. So what they were saying was, we are going to protect mankind from this God who put us in this little fishbowl. We're going to break this off of us. We're going to go and do what we want to do, how we want to do it. You can say, got crazy, you did not. Again, Werner von Braun. That's his tombstone I told you about. He knew. They knew. And they hold back this knowledge. Enoch knew. Ezekiel knew. They all knew. Now I want to show you something. This knowledge you've gained this morning, we're going to, again, there's so much more I could share. So much more I could give you. But let's just get this truth down. God said in His Word, Genesis 1, He said that He created the heavens and the earth, and He made a firmament, and that it divided the waters from above and the waters from beneath. So there's no outer space. There's no getting through the firmament. They tried to blow.
Taking an idea I got from a Stephen King book, I'm going to cover this town with a dome!
It's been done!
Really? Did you know about this?
Coming this June, last summer's #1 show returns Under the Dome.
Do you know how to fly those?
Absolutely. Do you get to fly to the edge?
Oh, yeah.
What's past there?
Don't know. We're not allowed to fly past that.
Let's go.
It's against the rules, Jonas.
Who are you?
The giver. When the elders need guidance, I provide wisdom using memories of the past. Our world was different. There was more.
More?
Much more. There is no way for me to prepare you for the truth.
Right before your surgery, I asked if you had packed your cell phone, and you said, which one?
When? Skylar, I was medicated.
I mean, I could have said the world was flat.
You know what I think? I think you accidentally told the truth.
1,500 years ago, everybody knew the Earth was the center of the universe. 500 years ago, everybody knew the Earth was flat. And 15 minutes ago, you knew that people were alone on this planet.
Imagine what you'll know tomorrow.
Yeah, it was a surprise.
Big surprise, yeah. It's cold out here.
Yeah, it is. It's like the South Pole.
It's like the deep South Pole, if there was one. There isn't, though.
Thanks for walking me in my door.
Why you put them rats in my locker, man?
I thought it would put things in perspective for you.
No, Kay, it's actually kind of sad, man, really. We need to let them out of there. I mean, they need to know the world is bigger than that. Still a rookie. Wow.
Douglas.
Yeah,
Look, I can explain.
I know the truth.
Where are you?
You could call it the end of the world.
What would you do? What would any of you be willing to do? Would you brave the weird and haunted shores at world's end?
Those mountains. That's it.
Do you see what's out there?
Yes,
If you tell me we'll make it, I'll believe you.
we'll make it. We have to.
Welcome.
No, I just want to stand on top of the wall and piss off the edge of the world.
But remember, Nick, you were the one who came looking for me. So you might want to ask yourself, did I find what I was looking for?
It's a 20,000-foot sheer wall of ice. But that's never stopped me before. Risk? Of course I'm aware of the risks. Thank you for your concern.
So these governments got together and agreed on this. And I believe that even what Admiral Byrd did tell about the Antarctic was interesting, okay? I'm going to tell you what I believe about this, and I'm going to share with you something about the Bible, the book of Enoch. The Bible talks about the ends of the earth, the edges, the extreme edges, where the firmament comes down. Now remember, if you got Now, he went along in an expedition to the Antarctica several times as a photographer, but he was also a biologist. And he took pictures of the Antarctica. Now, I'm going to read a little bit of his bio here. But this is a summary. The William Scoresby was the ship, was a purpose-designed research vessel built for the Discovery Committee by the East Yorkshire shipyard of Cook, Welton, and Gamble. Named after the famous British Arctic explorer and scientist William Scoresby. And, but anyway, this was, the Scoresby completed 7 dome. It's going to be high here, come down, and finally touch somewhere, right? See, I believe they found it. I believe they found it in these expeditions. There's testimony that some of Admiral Byrd's planes were hitting invisible shields. Now there are people now that are attributing that to alien technology and saying that the Nazis had a base there and there was aliens there and all that. That's a bunch of crap. Now the Nazis did have bases there. Voyages to the Antarctic waters between 1926 and 1937, and of course George Rayner was on board several of these expeditions, and he was a photographer. And here's an example. This is in the museum. Victoria Museum in England. These pictures of George Rayner were committed to this or given to this museum by his wife in 1984. These pictures have been verified to be legit, and they are. But this invisible shield that they were running into, the planes, I believe they found it in Antarctica. Now, long before Admiral Byrd went to the Antarctica, I found this the other day. There was an expedition, and there was a man that went in 1927, between 1927 and 1930. I think he went 2 or 3 times. There was an expedition, but this man right here, and notice this is in the National Library of Australia. Everybody see that? Okay? George W. Rayner. Okay?